Hi everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk about mostly knitting so far. Today I have for you podcast episode number 2, which is going to be quite finished object heavy and pretty tame on the whips. So if you want to see what's everything that I finished in the past month and a half, then keep watching. With my notes, and I have quite a big stack. Of finished objects today, so we're just gonna go through each one of them. First on my list of finished objects is this beanie. Ta-da! This is the Vima beanie. And this only took me a few days to knit because it's quite a thick, bulky yarn. I talked about this yarn on my last podcast, and I mentioned that it's like the perfect cranberry, maroony, burgundy color for fall. So I found this pattern on Ravelry that was related to this specific yarn, and I thought this was the best hat for this yarn. So I was able to make it in 2 days. I finished it. No, I started on September 28th and I finished it on the 30th. So it was quite a quick knit. I then went ahead and added a pom-pom. I had leftover yarn that was like the perfect amount for a pom-pom, so I decided to test it out because I got a pom-pom maker, which is in my last vlog. I got a pom-pom maker to make the pom-poms for my structure scarf, so I decided to test it out with this beanie. I don't know if I'll keep the pom-pom on there, but I wanted to test it out, and this is kind of what it looks like. I think it's just a bit too tall for the pom-pom. There's like extra room here. If it laid more flat, I think the pom-pom would be better. But overall, I'm happy with the hat, how it turned out. It's just a nice bulky hat. I kind of like those chunky hats. They kind of make you look like Toad from Mario with like the big head. So I'm happy with it. Now I just have another beanie in my arsenal. I have quite a few beanies now, and this list of finished objects is mostly beanies. So I would recommend this pattern. It was super easy. It did include an Italian bind-on cast on, and I ended up not doing that, which I think for the next beanie that I do, I'm definitely going to do that cast on because I see that it looks quite seamless. So I'm going to try that for the next beanie that I do, but for this one, I just wanted to use up the yarn and have it to wear. So we'll see how it's wearable this winter and if the beanie is going to be functional or not. I can already tell I didn't really install it that well. There's like it's not tight on there. So I don't know if I will take it off and re-put it on there or if I'll just take it off entirely. But yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful yarn. And I'm happy to have this color option for a beanie. So that's the first finished object. The next finished object is another beanie. Ta-da! This is a beanie that has been a whip since January, and I was going through my whips in a previous vlog, and I found this one and it had just the decrease section left. But the reason why it's been a whip for so long is because I ran out of the white yarn. So it's a marled, just 2 colors marled together. And this is actually left over from my chestnut sweater that I made. And I thought it would look cool as a beanie because I'm just a huge fan of this color combination. So I used it up and I didn't have enough of the white yarn left. So I just let it sit, and I had ordered yarn, but something happened with the shipment where it like shipped back and they refunded me. So I was like, all right, well, I'm just not gonna order that again because it took too long. So I was just gonna wait until I wanted to order more yarn from that company. This is Drops Alpaca, by the way. And it just didn't happen for a while. But I was looking through my whips and I decided that I really wanted to just finish some of my whips that have been sitting for a long time. And I had another yarn that looked relatively similar to the white, another white yarn. And so I just decided to use that. And I figured that you wouldn't be able to tell that much. You can tell a little bit because it goes from pretty fluffy to not that fluffy. I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but you can definitely tell there's a difference in the fluffy factor, but it's not so noticeable. So I wouldn't unravel this or anything, but you can tell, but it's not so noticeable that I'm upset and I would have to unravel it. This is the classic ribbed beanie by Pearl Soho. I've made this pattern so many times now, like maybe 7 at this point. I'm a really big fan of this pattern because it's super easy and I really like the way the decreases look. They're kind of rounded and I like the way that that shape looks better on a hat. If you put 4 decreases, it kind of makes it more pointy. Like this one is a little bit more pointy, whereas this one's more rounded, and I just kind of prefer the rounded look. This is kind of what it looks like on. I really like the combo. It just adds a little bit to if you want to wear like a very simple outfit, for example like what I'm wearing today. It just adds a little fun element to an outfit. This was started on January 2nd of this year and finished on October 9th. So this was a doozy, but really it only took me like a day to finish the decreases. So once I decided to swap a different yarn in there, I finished it really fast. So those are my 2 new beanies. And as a third finished object, another beanie. This is the same pattern, different yarn, the Pearl Soho classic ribbed hat pattern. Same decreases. I knit this on a different gauge just because the yarn was a bit thicker. So this is the yarn that I bought from the alpaca farm, from Dottie, the alpaca. She's really cute, and I like to be able to see the picture of her and then see the skein and then see the hat. And this is some of the softest yarn ever, and this is a yarn that's local to me, so I really value this beanie, and it's kind of just a plain simple color. I have a lot of like bright colored beanies, so I like to also have one that is more simple. I knit in about a week. I started it on October 13th and I finished it on October 22nd. So if you ever want like a quick one skein project, I would recommend this pattern. I think if I ever make this pattern again, I'm going to try the Italian cast on. Nothing wrong with this cast on, but I just want to see that. I think that looks a little bit more seamless. So this one, like I said, I knit it on a different gauge than is recommended in the pattern, and just because it was a little bit chunkier yarn, it said it was sport, but it felt like a little bit more than DK, to be honest. I think the pattern calls for DK as well. So I ended up knitting this on 4mm, whereas the pattern calls for 3.25. And it turned out perfectly. I knit the size adult small when I usually would knit an adult medium for myself. And it turned out perfect. I did knit it the dimensions exactly to the size small. So it is a little bit, it has less room. On top, it's more snug on top of my head. So depending on your preferences, if you ever want to make this hat, this was about 8 inches, whereas this one is about 9 inches before I start the decreases. And I kind of like having it more snug. It's kind of easier for me to wear personally because I have to put my bun pretty low to get these to not look a bit crazy and like super pointy. So I think for future hats I'll probably knit them around this maybe a little bit more so that it's a little bit more snug. Yeah, I talked a lot more about this yarn in my previous video and kind of shared some clips of the actual alpaca farm, but it's just a really beautiful yarn. I would love to buy more of this yarn and maybe make a whole sweater or a cardigan out of it, but from my understanding they don't have so much of this yarn available. So maybe at some point in my life I'll be able to get more of this yarn, but for now I'm happy to have just this beanie and be able to support the local farm. Here you can see kind of the way that the decreases are shaped on the pattern. I just think it's really nice, and I would recommend this for any beginners, or if you just have like a one skein. If you have one skein, it's perfect for a DK skein and perfect for a gift as well. So these are my 3 new beanies. I don't have any more at the moment. I'll probably make more beanies, but for now this is all that I have. I'll add it to my beanie stack, and my beanie collection continues to grow. And I'm kind of like, I should probably slow down because it's just a lot of beanies, but at the same time they're so fun to make and they're just I just love accessories, so I don't know if I can stop making beanies. But so there's 3 finished objects. So this friend, I've known her since we were 1 and we've just, yeah, we've known each other our whole lives, and I hadn't seen her in a few years. So obviously we grew up together, but she moved away to a different state. So we were in the same area for once, and so I met up with her and I was super happy, but I wanted to make her like a little gift. So I found this pattern on Pinterest. Actually, I feel like Pinterest just recommends better things to you. So I found the Ribka pouch on Pinterest and I thought it would be fun to make it for her as a gift. So I did, and I kind of perused my scrap yarn and I found some leftover Rico Design Creative Cotton DK. It's like a speckled rainbow yarn, which I used for a Technicolor tote by Petite Knit. I had seen the pattern, I had seen a girl on Instagram make that pattern with this specific yarn and it kind of went viral, I think, and I was just obsessed with the colors. It kind of reminded me of like the 90s, I don't know, but I really liked it. I don't know, it just reminded me of my childhood. For whatever reason it reminded me of my childhood, the yarn did. So I copied her and made that, but I had some leftover of the yarn, and then I thought it would be so cute to make the fish in rainbow, kind of like the rainbow fish story, if you know that. So I did make that for her and I love it so much. I want to make one for myself, like a rainbow version. I actually would love to make multiple of these fish. First of all, it's a great gift. It was super quick. Second, it's just so cute to like hang on your bag or something. So it only took me like a day. It actually just took me like a few hours to knit both sides. Basically you knit 2 of the fish and then you crochet seam them together, and then you knit an I-cord to hang it on whatever. So it's super fast to knit, and I think this would be a great option for me if I ever wanted to make a little gift for a little friend or something, but also just as a bag accessory. So I intend on making more of it for me first and then maybe for some other friends. So yeah, I knit that on October 9th to October 10th. October was a month full of small projects. It feels like like day-long projects, because the chunky beanie, the rainbow fish, and my next whip were all like, they all basically took me a day or 2. The finished object that I have is actually a gift knit, and I've already put it in this bag to gift. This is for my sister-in-law. She's turning 30 years old, and I decided to make her something that she had asked for a while ago. So I've already made 3 of these patterns. I will show you now. This is a Montpellier top by November Knits. It's just a really cool high neck tank top. It's knit in Sandnes Tic line in a cream color. So I had knit 2 of these already. I knit a blue one, which I gave away because it's a little bit too big, and then I knit one in this cream color, and I was wearing it one time when she was over, and she was like, "Oh, I love that. You can, if you make me one, you can just bill your brother." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I will put you on the list to make you something." I didn't know like when I would ever get to it, but then her 30th birthday was coming up, and I was like, okay, this would be a great gift. I know it's November, but she's actually going to Mexico soon, so she should be able to wear this since it'll be hot there. And I didn't mind making this for her because she's small, so it was the smallest size, so it didn't take up that much yarn. It actually took 1 less skein than was recommended in the pattern, so I didn't have to buy as much as the pattern recommended. And yeah, it took me a week. It was October 14th to the 20th, so it only took me 1 week, which is pretty quick. It's obviously a thick gauge. It's knit on 5mm needles, and because she's so small, I got to knit it really quickly. So that wasn't bad. So her birthday is coming up, and I'm hoping to give this to her next week. I had it done pretty far in advance because I don't like making gifts that much. I definitely don't want to like stress out about it. So I did it ahead of time so that I could go back to working on my own projects, and I'm excited to give this to her. I also included in her gift a little jewelry piece. Well, it's like a little jewelry set. I'll just show you, since if you watch my vlog, you know I'm a big fan of jewelry. I made her this lapis lazuli necklace and matching bracelet, and then a matching ring, just because I had leftover beads, and I kind of like wearing these. It's just elastic. I kind of like wearing them as rings, the beads. So I made her this little set. It's just a 16-inch, so it'll be kind of a little shorter, which I think looks really cute. And then a matching bracelet. One time she said she liked lapis lazuli, so I was like, all right, I know she likes lapis lazuli, and I know she asked for this tank top before, so let me just make those. And these necklaces, just beaded necklaces, are really easy to make. And I put just sterling silver findings, and I use a silk thread for it. So I'm excited to give this to her. I hope she likes it. I hope the thing fits well. It's a bit too small for me because she wears the smallest size, where I will wear like the 3rd or the 4th size usually. So it should look a lot better on her than it does on me. But at least it sits comfortably on me, so it should be fine for her. But yeah, so that's the little gift that I made, and I'm excited to gift it to her, and that should be enough knitting gifts for her. I can move on to maybe somebody else. All right, I have 1 more small whip and then 2 bigger whips, or sorry, not whips, finished objects. I'll save the big boys for last. So my next finished object is this laptop case that I crocheted. I had seen these on Pinterest a lot, and I actually felt that I needed one because I have my computer but I try to take really good care of my technology or my things in general, and because like computers and tech is so expensive, I just want to keep it well maintained. So I have like a little plastic case on it, but it just felt dangerous. So I wanted to make a little case for it, and I saw these crocheted cases on Pinterest a lot with different color. I think a lot of them use t-shirt yarn, but I found 100% cotton tape yarn. This was actually also an acquisition. It's just 2 things of tape yarn, and a lot of the samples that I saw on Pinterest were marled 2 different colors, which I like. So I was debating between it was like a denim and a navy blue combination, and then this green and yellow combo, and I let my mom decide. So she picked the green and yellow. So it kind of looks like this, and it's just a single crochet all around until you get to the length of your computer. And then I just added a little label on it, and it really only took me about like a period of over 24 hours. So it's super quick knit, and it feels really secure. So I'll show you. It's pretty thick just without the computer. It's not like, it doesn't feel really flimsy at all, so it does feel protective enough. And yeah, I ordered this yarn with a few other skeins that I'll show in my acquisitions section. But yeah, I would totally recommend doing this for a laptop, and this for just like I think it's a 13-inch MacBook Air. It only took 1 skein of each, and I used up basically all of it. So there's not much yarn left. I have like a little bit left that I can make like a little crochet cup, maybe to put some, I don't know, lipstick in or something. But I'm really happy that I made this, and I'm happy that it was so quick. And I'm very happy that it used up the majority of the yarn. So I didn't have like a lot of leftover. I was afraid that I would have a lot of yarn left over, but not so much. So it was a pretty affordable laptop case, or it's a laptop sleeve. And yeah, I'm super happy to have this. I think it looks really good, but sometimes for like work or office, I kind of want to lean into like a dark academia look. But I realize with this, I don't think I'll ever become dark academia. Like, this looks so much more visco girl to me. I think I'm just inevitably gonna be like more visco girl than dark academia. Maybe if I had chosen the navy blue and denim blue combo, I would have been more dark academia, but alas, this is my vibe. I actually really wanted to go for like a pink and a light pink, like a hot pink and a light pink, but I was like, I know I'm gonna get tired of that. That's just not gonna be like my aesthetic for a long time, but I really like that combo too. So I would totally recommend this. I'll put the specific yarn that I used on the screen or in the description or something, or if you comment, if you want to know specifically what yarn I used, I will reply to your comment. So yeah, that's the last of the small whips, so I'm gonna move into the big ones. I keep saying whips, I mean finished objects. That's the last of the small finished objects. Now I can move to the big finished objects. All right, which one do you want to see first? Let's start with my favorite one, which is the finished structure scarf. When in my last podcast, this was a completely different color. It was red. It was a bright red. But as time went on, I ended up changing the color scheme. So I started this structure scarf on August 31st, and I finished it on October 28th. So it took me about 2 months. Part of that was unraveling all of the red that I had added and adding in a new color. So what happened was I had picked out the colors about 2 years ago because I had knit the scarf for my brother. While I bought the yarn for him, I also bought the yarn for myself, and the color scheme that I had picked prior, it just didn't really vibe with me this time. Actually, I still like that color combo, but I think the way that I think about it is I really am a huge fan of this pattern, and I really wanted it to be something really wearable, and I just wanted to love the color combo as much as I love the pattern. So I had the red, and then I ended up taking out the red because it wasn't the vibe that I was going for. So I will show you. I had knit the first block in the red and the brown, and I ended up unraveling the red and the brown, and I added this pale blue color, and I'm really happy with it. It leans almost gray, but it's definitely like just a bright pale blue. And then in the center I have the brown and the beige, and at the end I have the navy blue and the brown. So the brown is the color that is the main color, and it goes throughout. The accent colors that change throughout. I felt with the red it was just too jarring for me, especially with the blue, the navy blue. It reminded me of my high school colors, and I didn't love it. So I decided to order a new color and take out the red, and it was a blue, another shade of blue inevitably, and I'm so happy that I did that, and I'm really happy with the finished knit. I would say that it's my favorite, one of my favorite knits I've ever made. I thought that I considered not buying a fourth color and just keeping like these 3 colors, but I felt that it was a little bit boring, and for an accessory kind of like playing around a little bit, so I thought that adding the bright blue would be a good idea. And then I successfully added the pom-poms, so it has like a little braid, and then you attach the pom-pom to either side, and that's definitely one of my favorite features. So if you were interested in knitting this pattern, I knit it with Knit Picks palette. The one I made for my brother, I also knit with Knit Picks palette, and they just have a huge variety of colors. It's not like the softest yarn, but it's comfortable to wear around my head or around my face. And because the color selection is so big, you just have a good variety of options and combinations. So I think for each one of the accent colors, I just use one skein. So if you were going to make this pattern, you would need to buy one skein of each accent color, and then probably 4 skeins for the main color, just in case you don't run out. So that's my finished structure scarf. I would love to make this again. Honestly, I just love the design so much. I don't really see people making this pattern from Petite Knit as much. It's not one of her more popular patterns, but I personally I love it. So I'm really happy with it. I think it would be fun to do it in like a different color combination, maybe more leaning towards the berries or like maroons or something. This one's a little bit more muted, so it'd be fun to make it again in like a brighter colors, but then again, I don't know, maybe at some time I will make it again, but for now I'm just so happy to finally have this pattern because I've been wanting it ever since she released the pattern, and like I said, I had made it for my brother and he looks really cool with it, and finally it was time to make it for me. Actually, I knit this with my friend, so one of my friends, she also was planning on making it, and she had bought the yarn I think maybe last year, And so we were both like, okay, we just need to knit it. So we decided to knit it together in September, and she finished hers in like a week because she was on vacation. And then it took me 2 months to make. Now we have matching scarves, and I have a matching scarf with my brother. But my brother doesn't have the pom-poms on his, actually. I don't know if he would want them on there, but I could add them for him, but maybe it's a little bit more of like a feminine touch to have the pom-poms. I don't know. But maybe I will just put this on for the rest of the video. Amazingly, is the sweater number 14 V-neck. So I don't know how I finished it. I just didn't think I'm gonna be able to finish this pattern so fast, just because I was so tired of the mohair, and it's just 2 strands of mohair, so it's super fluffy. But I did it. I finished it. I think after I had finished all these other whips that I was working on, the beanies and everything, I just felt really motivated to finish projects that I had started. So I wanted to cast on other projects while I was working on the body of this, but I was like, no, I'm just gonna finish it. And I was able to finish it in a week. It's actually a pretty quick knit because it's knit on 6mm needles, and I don't know, like the sleeve only took me a few hours. So it's just really fast, and it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful silhouette. As mentioned in my previous podcast, this is knit in Knitting for Olive Dusty Artichoke, 1 strand of merino, 2 strands of mohair, 3 strands total. So I had a lot of yarn left over just because I've been using this Dusty Artichoke for a few different projects. I posted the rest of it on Facebook Marketplace, so hopefully someone wants to buy it. If you're interested, you can find it on Facebook if you want some Dusty Artichoke. Everything is 2x2 rib for the neckline and the body ribbing and the sleeves ribbing, which I love. I love 2x2 rib. And there's a split hem, which I'm also a big fan of. I knit the second size, and I knit it basically exactly to how the pattern is, so I knit the length the same and everything, and it kind of fits me perfectly. So I'll hopefully insert some photos and some videos to show you guys kind of how it fits. I think I would knit this pattern again. Maybe I think I would love to have like a black sweater, so maybe I would knit the crew neck in this same, well, I would knit the crew neck of this version in a different yarn in the color black. I think that would look really good. What else to say about this pattern? What I found with V-necks is that it's very difficult to get it even in the front. So I think it leans a little bit weird. I'll try to show you. Yeah, I have no idea if you can see that. It leans a little bit weird, but you can't really tell when you're wearing it. It's mostly if I try to put it on a hanger and take a photo of it, then it looks a little bit off, but otherwise it looks good, I would say. And I've been wearing it a lot since I finished it. It's stretched out a good amount, and the drape is beautiful. If you've used Knitting for Olive, you know the drape is always beautiful. So yeah, that's the last finished object. I don't really have anything to say about it other than it's a good pattern. There's only 3 sizes, so that's definitely a downside. And yeah, that kind of concludes all of my finished objects. I guess I can move on to the whips, which I only have 1 whip to show you for now. I have 2 of these petite knit bags, and she just, like, every release, I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. She just released a navy blue one. It's so nice. But I genuinely don't need it, so unfortunately I probably will never have it. But I have the like striped plaid one, and then I also got this navy blue flower. It kind of matches everything today, like my blue bed, blue scarf, blue this. This is where I have my current whip. So my current whip is the November jacket by Petite Knit, and I actually started this last year in November, so November 5th of 2023, and I picked it back up this November to keep in the theme of its name, November jacket. So let me show you. It's at the trust the process moment, so it looks reckless right now. This is my November jacket. Can't you tell how pretty it is? Let me try to show you where I'm at. Here we go. I could try to put it on a hanger, but whoa. I actually haven't knit in over a week, like a week and a half. So I haven't touched this in a while. I'm gonna try to show you where I'm at. So I finished the back yoke last year. That's this part. And it's been sitting, waiting for me to cast on the front yoke. So that's what I started earlier this month. So I finished the right front yoke and I am working on the left side. This pattern is really clever, and what I'm most excited about is the neckband is knit at the same time. So you don't have to go back in and pick up the neck and knit the neckband. I find that so hard because you have to get the tension right, and I can never get the tension right. So anyway, this is more knitting for olive yarn. The combination is, hold on. The combination is the heavy merino in dark moose, and the mohair is in the color bark. And the mohair is definitely darker than the heavy merino. If you can see, it's got a little bit of variation in the color, which I think looks nice. I know in my last podcast I talked about how I was like, no, I don't have any more mohair projects coming up. Actually, this whip and my other whip that have been hibernating are both mohair projects, so I don't think I'm getting away from mohair anytime soon. Pattern is I personally really like knitting brioche. It's the lack of purling is what I love it for. The only scary part about knitting brioche is if I drop a stitch, then it's not so easy to pick up. But otherwise I really love the look of it. So I'm trying to hack this pattern a little bit. I don't know how well it's gonna work out, but essentially it doesn't have any increases in the front to make it like a v-neck, so that's what I'm trying to add. I saw one example of it on Ravelry, and I'm trying to kind of finesse to do the same thing. So if you look at the right front, I've added about 5 increases to make it more of a v-neck. This is going to pose a few issues. Mainly the front is going to be bigger than the back, so I don't know how it's going to fit that well. By the way, I'm knitting a size medium. I wish I was knitting a large, but I think because I'm adding these increases in the front, it will be a little bit more oversized. So basically what I did was, after 8 inches, I'm going to try to isolate the right front. After 8 inches, I'm gonna use my head for that, I started doing increases, and my increases are every 8 rows I'll do an increase. So that, to get to the total length required, that made it 5 increases. 5 increases. And I will do that on the left side as well. I realize now that I could, if I wanted to, make the front and back the same size. I could have done some decreases here and then done the increases. Like after you cast on the shoulder stitches, do a few decreases and then increase so it's the same size. but I guess I will test it out, and if it fits well then I won't change anything. If the fit is really bad, then I guess I'll just unravel it and start from scratch. But I'm hoping that it will work out well. Based on the girl on Ravelry's page, it should be fine. So yeah, this has been one of my dream knits for a long time. I just didn't think in the past that I had the skill set. I definitely feel a lot more skilled now that this one isn't so much of a challenge, and it should be not too challenging. I think the most challenging part is to just try to do the hack, but also try to get the tension right for the neckband. So I realized at the beginning that I was knitting the neckband a little bit too tight, so now I'm like knitting normally here and trying to knit really loosely here. So you might be able to tell the change in tension from here to, like, I think it's kind of like here where I started changing the tension, and I think that helps a lot. So that's my strategy for knitting this. But yeah, right now it's definitely at the trust the process part of the knit, which is always so funny to me because yeah, it just looks like crazy. And then once you connect the back and the front, it starts looking good. So can't wait to get to that point. But yeah, I haven't been knitting for a little while, like a little week and a half. So I should probably pick that back up because I'm also knitting this with the same friend that knit the structure scarf with me. We've both been wanting to do the November jacket for a long time. So she's knitting hers in a like wine red color. It looks looking really good. And she's way smaller than me, so she's making a smaller size, but she also just, I swear, she knits like, she's like the fastest knitter. So I started ahead of her because I already had the back yoke done, but she's passed me now. And we just started it at the beginning of November. So we're not that far in. But hopefully this ends up looking good. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but at the same time, like, whatever. It's already been a whip for a year. So this is my only current whip right now that I've been working on. I do have a few other whips that are in hibernation. I kind of wanted to get through the body before I picked up any other whips. One of the whips that I have is just a plain stockinette sweater. So that one will be good when I just need something basic to work on without much thinking. This one is relatively, like, brioche is relatively simple. There's like a rhythm to it, but it's not something that you can necessarily look away from, or I don't feel comfortable just kind of like knitting in front of the TV or like reading or something, that I could do that with stockinette. I don't have any issue knitting stockinette at the same time as something else. So yeah, I kind of wanted to get through this one a little bit and then hopefully get to my other whips. And then I have a few other projects that I want to knit. I haven't started yet. I can maybe make a separate video on knitting plans. I also yeah, I have a few projects that I want to start that I haven't started yet, so I might start those soon actually. But for now, I'm just working on the November jacket. Two projects that I want to start are kind of smaller projects. I might start those soon and kind of get through those before I pick up like a bigger sweater project. I just really want the November jacket. Like I said, I've been wanting it for so long, so I'm trying to power through and really focus on it. And that's it for the whips. Like I said, yeah, I'm planning on starting a few smaller whips, which I will talk about here shortly, but I guess now it's time to move on to the acquisitions. I know that I said I didn't want to buy any yarn, but because I had to like buy an extra skein of this, and then I also had kind of a need for a laptop sleeve, so I bought this yarn. From the same order of this yarn, I got a few other skeins of yarn, and I will show you them now. So I have this, I don't know if this happens to anybody else. We get like a little obsession with a certain color just randomly, and the color that I got obsessed with is bubblegum pink. So I got this Drops Air 2 skeins in a bubblegum pink, and I also got this is the Drops Melody in the same kind of like hot pink. So there's a reason for this. I'm gonna make, believe it or not, I'm planning on making a beanie with it. So I got this to make my own beanie pattern. I tried making in the past kind of my own beanie pattern, so this is the first iteration of it, and I wanted to try to make it again and make it better, make it with the Italian bind on or whatever it's called. So this was made with some leftover yarn from another project that I had. It's also drops air, 2 strands, and then a strand of drops mohair. And so I wanted to try to make it again, kind of like the perfect beanie in my opinion. What better color than to do in the bubblegum pink, since I've been obsessed with the color, and a hat is like the perfect way to wear a color, like a pop of color. So I got these to try to make my beanie pattern and actually write it. So I guess stay tuned for that. It should be a quick knit, but yeah, something kind of like this. Simple, easy, beginner friendly, but also like if you're gonna use Drops Air, it's pretty like Drops is on the more affordable end of yarns, and they have a huge color selection, so I think this would be so cute. So that's what I'm planning on making with this. And besides these and the tape yarn, I did get a few I got some sock yarn because I wanted to participate in this knit along that I saw from Brooke Willow Knits, who's one of my favorite podcasters on YouTube. I just really like her YouTube channel. I like her videos, but also I love what she makes. She definitely is one of my favorite. Like, her output is impeccable. She just got a good style, I think. So I got some sock yarn, and I got a few skeins of sock yarn, but I only have one over here. I got 2 skeins of red, 1 skein of green, and 1 skein of like a off-white color. But I think I put those away because I need to use this one first, so I'm not even gonna show you. But this is Drops Fable, and I bought this because her knit along it's basically you choose a pattern from a knitting book that you have, and I thought that was such a good idea. So I only have one knitting book. Which is this Charlotte Stone Knits color work sock book, and I'm not really into knitting socks, so this is kind of like an impulse buy, but I would love to make more socks. So I thought, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to knit more socks and also do the knit along. So I was debating between 2 different patterns in this book. The first one is this one with the citruses, and then the second one I thought would be really cute is these heart socks. And my thought process was that I like the citrus ones, but I would rather make them into tomatoes. So I decided to hold off on that one. Maybe I will practice first on the heart socks, and then later I will try to hack that into tomatoes. So I got these 2 yarns. This one I've had for a long time. It's a like pinkish variegated yarn, and then this red. So I'm planning on making those socks. I kind of want to cast this one on soon, because the knit along goes until I think the beginning of January or something. It goes until January, so I have a little bit of time, but it started a long time ago, so at the same time I'm kind of late to the party. So I did want to participate, and to finish the socks I needed more sock yarn, which I didn't really want to buy the yarn, but I really wanted to participate in the knit along, so I got this yarn. And hopefully I can do it. I really want to get better at color work. So yeah, I'm gonna practice with that, and I'm also gonna practice with the column cowl, which I talked about in my last podcast, but I haven't casted it on yet. So I'm thinking either I'll cast on the column cowl first and finish that because I think it'll be faster, and then do the socks, because these I think will be a little bit more challenging because since they're on a small gauge and they're socks, so it takes a while for me at least. And yeah, that's kind of my plan. So my plan in terms of whips is just the November jacket, the column cowl, and then these socks until I'm ready to work on a bigger project again. That's all that I have today to talk about. Yeah, I kind of lost a little bit of knitting mojo the past week and a half, so I didn't get very far on my November jacket, but hopefully I can start picking things back up this week or maybe after this week. It's been a bit busy. It's gonna be a bit of a busy week at work, so I don't know how much time I'll have outside of work, but yeah, I guess we will see. If you want to keep following along with my different projects and everything, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and let me know what you think below. It's been fun chatting with a few of you in the comment section. To all a good day or night, and yeah, thanks for watching if you made it this far, and I look forward to talking to you again hopefully soon. Bye.